Good morning, guys, or at least it is for me. I thought that I would share with you how I am setting up my 2019 bullet journal. I'm doing something a bit different this year for it and taking a really different approach to my bullet journal this year. And I wanted to share it with you in phases and explain what my plans are for it this year. Today we're just going to set up the key, which I guess if you're a long-time bullet journaler, you don't really need a key anymore. I don't really need a key anymore, but it seemed a good place to fit the other things I'm doing on those pages. I am turning them into sort of a bound vision board. Instead of doing one that will hang on my wall, I'm putting it in the front of my bullet journal. So you saw me surfing Pinterest and collecting some images that would fit for the things that I hope to accomplish or that I want to stay focused on for 2019, and cutting them out so that I could add them to this spread. Right now I am just inking what I had already drawn up for the way that I want my key to be this year. I'm incorporating a couple additional signifiers for the year that I don't really use or haven't really used in the past. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, signifiers just add extra value to tasks that I put into my daily or weekly journals. If you want to know more about bullet journaling, I would go to bulletjournal.com or buy Ryder Carroll's book, The Bullet Journal Method, which is an even deeper dive into what bullet journaling is. I've been bullet journaling for a few years now, and I don't think I'm ever going to give it up entirely. I have taken a break from it in the past when I've purchased new planners or something, but I seem to always come back to it. Generally, it's meant to be a single place to put all of your things, to-do lists, notes, collections, everything. Just dump it into one notebook, but I'm too addicted to notebooks and planners, so I seem to have several no matter how hard I try not to. So the purpose of your key is to assign symbols and the meanings of those symbols in one place so that you can easily reference it, or if you're the sort of person who will pass down your journals to someone else someday, they will know what everything means. There are specific symbols that cross over from person to person for bullet journaling that were established by Ryder Carroll when he came up with this system. Things like the dot for the task and the X for a completed task. All of those sorts of things are pretty uniformly used across the bullet journaling community, but some people alter them a bit to suit themselves, and that's kind of what bullet journaling is about. You're not locked into any one method or thing. You can just kind of do what you want. The main objective, though, is to do things quickly. So signifiers and symbols that help you very quickly jot down the things you need to do for the day, or cross out that you've done them, or organize things and reference them later. It's all meant to happen quickly, very succinct and to the point note-taking instead of long drawn out sorts of things that you can reference later, and a place to collect everything so that you're not looking all over the place for what you did with that thing or where you put this thing. And it has helped me tremendously when it comes to not worrying about things. My brain is so full of so many things that I need to do as a serial entrepreneur and a person with so many things that I want to still do. It's just easier for me and my peace of mind if I just throw it all in one notebook so that I know where it is, and as soon as I write it down, technically, I don't need to worry about it anymore. Having just expounded on the importance of having one notebook for all your things, now I'm going to tell you why I'm not. I previously posted a video about my 3 Hobonichi planners that I'm going to be using this year and how I plan to use them, and that hasn't really changed. Just a few small tweaks, but mostly that is still the plan. I will link you to that video above so that you can see what I will be doing in those, but the short answer is the weeks will be used for health-related stuff so that I can carry it in my purse, take it to the doctor if I need to, all of those sorts of things. The smaller A6 I'm using strictly for work and scheduling out YouTube videos and keeping track of design projects that I'm working on and whether I've invoiced them, all those things. And the larger A5 is personal, journaling and sketching and the sort of daily bullet journaling, the to-do lists and time blocking and all of those things I'm going to do in the A5. So what am I doing in a bullet journal? Why am I even having a bullet journal? And how in the heck will I keep up with all of these notebooks and planners? I can't answer the last question because I have actually no idea. But it makes me happy to still have a bullet journal, so I'm having one. I'm using the Archer and Olive notebook that I reviewed in the last video, link above, and because it's sort of mixed media paper, I'm going to be able to do a lot more in here than I can in my other notebooks. So a large part of what this notebook will be notes and reflections on my magic mornings. So in the morning, there are certain things that I do every day, or at least I was doing every day, that just sort of set my day up for success and sort of adds something to each day that sort of puts me at ease, helps with anxiety, and that I've enjoyed enough to get up at 6 a.m. to do every day. Well, when I was doing it. And now that I've slipped back out of the habit, I am missing it, and I'm missing what it added to my day right off the bat. So, in an attempt to get back into the habit and make it a real part of every day, you have my magic morning bullet journal. There will be collaging like I'm doing now, and taking notes on the visualizations that I do. I am a huge proponent of visualizing the things that you want. Athletes do it before the big game. Many people do it, and I have found that it makes a huge difference, which is why we're doing this vision board at the very start of this notebook. I also do mantra type things and gratitude and just setting intentions for the day. And I want to take notes on all of those things in here instead of cramming them into my Hobonichis or something. I want them to have a designated space. So that's what this is. There will be other things in here, possibly a weekly spread, just shaking out details for the week. I've not quite decided on that yet, but for sure, this will be for magic mornings. It will probably be filled with a lot of photos similar to this, things that I want to incorporate into my life or goals I want to achieve. And then as I flip through it periodically, my mind will be refreshed with those goals that I may have let fallen off my radar and just get me excited again about those things that I wanted for myself. Or if they're no longer things that I want for myself, then to let it go and move on to the new things. So the photos that I am putting here have to do a lot with adventure and getting out into nature more, or bringing nature into my house more. The elephant, come on. Who doesn't love an elephant? I love them a little too much, perhaps because I really, really want to try to go to Thailand to a specific elephant rehabilitation park, sort of, where you can volunteer and stay there and sort of surround yourself by elephants. So that is a pretty lofty goal. It needs to be front and center in my notebook. There's camping and little road trips. It represented in these photos. I didn't go camping at all last year, so I would really like to do some more of that this year. The little bees, that is because I have started another business making solitary bee houses, and I wasn't really able to ramp it up yet. So putting the little bees is a small reminder to try to stay focused on that and do the things that I had planned for it. You see a bunch of house plants. This last year I started to bring more plants into the house and try not to kill them. I've done fairly well so far, so I want to bring more in the house because I like having those living things in the house. Makes me feel kind of like an adult taking care of plants. There is a small photo of some older cameras to remind me that I have a goal of getting a much nicer camera to shoot videos and photos with, specifically for YouTube, I suppose, because you guys, I only do this on my iPhone right now, and I'd like to be able to set something up that's a little better. I used to have a very nice digital camera. It's not really working anymore, and it didn't shoot videos. So goal, get a new fancier camera so that I can do all the things better. Pretty soon you'll see me fidgeting with cutting out some tiny little crystals and placing them off to the side. This last year I started to sort of collect small tumbled crystals like rose quartz or desert rose, citrine, amethyst, things like that. And I want to do a bit more of that this year and learn about each of them and the energy that they are known to possess and bring to your life. Little tiny icons like that help me stay focused on what I want to achieve this year or learn about, simple things like that. The art and the power of visualizing the things that you want for your life really does make a huge difference. If you have seen the documentary, if you want to call it that, called The Secret, or you've read any of Rhonda Byrne's books, The Power, The Magic, etc., you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, stay tuned. I'm sure I'll talk about it at some point. It's a huge part of my life, so if you want to know about it, comment below, and I can start to incorporate some videos on how I do it and what it has brought about in my life. Even if that's nothing more than a more positive attitude, I feel like that's a win. But I have seen some pretty crazy results because of it. I think it's because of it. You can't sway me otherwise. So if you want to know about it, let me know below, and I will start trying to talk about it more. I don't want to make this a full-on woo-woo new age channel, but I have every single intention of keeping this 100% real and letting you guys know all about me, my life as a freelancer, and as a person who tries to practice positivity on a regular basis. So that's part of it for me. You don't have to watch those videos, I guess, but it's gonna be there, even in small doses. I suppose there are a lot of things I don't need to bother with in this bullet journal, like an index, maybe, or future logs, because I'm not using it as that type of bullet journal, but they're going to be there. That's going to be the next video, setting up an index and creating a future log just in case the book shifts in some way to be more of an all-inclusive bullet journal, then they're there and they're ready to go. I can also use them in other ways, which I'll speak about once I shake out exactly how I may use them slightly differently. Monthly spreads, maybe not super necessary, but I plan to do them anyway, and maybe just refocus what I want for that month. This vision board is more for the year, so maybe my monthly spreads will be focused on putting in some images and some notes on what I want for the month. A lot of that will also be spelled out in my Hobonichis, but this bullet journal could be more of a visual for what I want for the month, incorporating photos like I have done here. And again, weekly may not be super necessary, a little bit redundant, but again, I want this to be a very visual bullet journal and less about tons of notes and things like that. But again, if there's something woo-woo or new agey that I want to take notes on, this is probably where it will happen. So if I learn about new crystals or moon phases or whatever's, and I want to take notes on that, they'll probably happen here, because this is dedicated to that sort of thing. Just finishing up the pages by putting a little splash of color. Kind of didn't know what I wanted to do with my lines around the images and changed it when I went to the next page, but I'm so over this notion of perfection that I've carried around with me my whole life. I just don't care. And when I got to that second page, I decided I wanted it to be more scribbly and sketched, and yeah, whatever. I still love these pages, and they make me pretty happy when I flip it open to sort out the next pages. I'm just cutting off the luggage around that corner and then calling it done. So this is my vision board sort of key for the front of my 2019 bullet journal. I hope you guys have taken away something from this video that you want to do. As always, and until next time, please go make something.